no matter who we are, no matter what your position, it is important that you take care of your own health. It's important that you take care of your own immune system. With all these claims that you can't strengthen your immune system and you can't boost your immunity, we can just take a step back and realize the truth. The truth is that if you can suppress the immune system, you can also strengthen it. And we know you can suppress it. You can suppress it with chronic disease. You can suppress it with medication. You can suppress it with stress. You can suppress it with excess drugs and alcohol use. The fact of the matter is you can suppress immune function. And if you can suppress it, you can also strengthen it. During this quest, we're going to discover some fascinating things about immunity and the way the immune system works. You're going to learn about the innate and acquired immune system, and you're going to learn about how to make sure your immune system is operating optimally. By the end of the quest, you will have taken some very specific steps to address your body's physical needs so that your immune system is operating the way you want it to operate. And so one of the things that we discuss in this quest is not only how you can boost your own immune system, how you can strengthen and support your own immune system, but how you can actually stimulate other people to be healthier as well. This is a powerful quest over 28 days. There's an introductory video that will teach you some fascinating things about the immune system. Then there are daily videos with great education and specific exercises and steps you can take in order to slowly and incrementally and in a cumulative way build strength in your immune system. By the end of the 28 days, you will have learned fascinating things. You will have made specific changes. You will likely feel a lot better, and you will definitely have better immune response than you did before the program began. Register now. Get started. Let's help you develop a stronger immune system over 28 days. I'll see you in the quest. In 1978, I sat in health class in Mr. Kolchinsky's classroom. We called him Mr. K because his name was too hard to say. I sat in health class and it was boring, or at least we thought it was going to be. But Mr. K had a way of making it exciting. You see, in 1978, he knew that the most important thing to most of us was Star Wars. And so he walked up to the classroom, he walked up to the blackboard, he drew a line down the middle of the board, and he said, "This is your skin." And on one side of the line, he drew the dreaded TIE fighters of the evil empire. And he said, "These are pathogens, germs, bacteria, and viruses." And on the other side of the board, he drew X-Wing fighters, the good guys, the Rebel Alliance. And he said, "This is your immune system. These are the antibodies that are there to protect you." He made health class really, really interesting. And I'm hoping to do the same thing for you right now. My name is Eric Edmeades, and I'm super excited to begin this journey with you. Over the next 28 days, we're going to learn some fascinating things about the immune system, and we're going to make incremental changes to our lifestyle that are going to help us boost or strengthen our immune system. But in order to do that, we need to deal with some common myths. You see, every time I've posted videos or written about boosting or strengthening your immune system, somebody always jumps onto the thread and says, "You can't strengthen your immune system. You can't boost your immunity." And what's really fascinating is that sometimes the way they're writing is semantics. In other words, they're literally correct, but they're completely incorrect. Let me explain what I mean. You see, your immune system kind of has two parts. You have your innate immune system, the immune system that you were already born with. It's the part of your body that defends you against everything from pathogens to even when you get cut. Your immune system jumps in and says, "Clot the blood and seal up the hole." But then you also have your acquired immune system, and that is the part of your immune system that can learn. So you encounter a virus, your body learns about that virus, learns how to make an antibody for that virus, and then you have immunity. A great way to explain this is through the metaphor of the legal system. Maybe you've watched a legal drama. You've watched some of these courtroom dramas where somebody has immunity from prosecution. You see, when they have immunity from prosecution, they can't be prosecuted. Somebody comes along and arrests them and they said, nope, I have immunity from prosecution. I don't even need a defense team. But if you don't have that immunity, then you definitely need a defense team, and you want that defense team to be as strong and healthy as possible. The way I often think about this is that if I wanted a defense team protecting me, I'd want them healthy, I'd want them fit, and I'd have lots of energy. I'd want them to have lots of energy. So I want the same thing for you. Now, there are other people who come along and say, yeah, but you can't strengthen your immune system. It's not safe to strengthen your immune system. Well, hold on a minute now. You can definitely weaken your immune system, can't you? In fact, if you'd like to learn how to get the flu, this is the way. You begin in the fall. You begin in the fall because we have the back to school season, and so we begin having some additional stresses and transport. The freedom of the summer is gone. And then we start moving into the holiday season. Depending on what country you're in, there's a variety of different celebrations that begin. For example, we have Halloween in North America, lots of candy eating. And then we also have Thanksgiving that comes along. And I know that in Germany, for example, there's Oktoberfest. All around the world, we go into holiday season. And that holiday season inspires us to eat a lot of food, not such very good food, to drink too much alcohol and eat way too much sugar. And so we wonder why it is, as we have that one last big celebratory party and we drink that little bit too much on December 31st, why it is that we get the flu a week and a half later. That's because our behavior over the last couple of months has suppressed or hurt our immune system. So if we can suppress or hurt our immune system, doesn't it also make sense that we can strengthen it? Doesn't it make sense that we can be as healthy as possible to make sure that when we encounter some sort of pathogen, a bacteria or a virus or anything, that we are in the best possible position to fight? And that's what we're going to be doing here on this quest. That's what we're going to be doing here over the next 28 days. Okay, so before we begin the program, what I want to do is start with some tips on how you can get the very most out of this program. The first thing is, let's act as though I'm there with you right now. Not like this is a video. In other words, let's be interactive. If I ask you a question, answer it. That way, the more interactive we become, the better the memory you will create of this program. And speaking of memory, here's a fascinating trick that you can use for anything you ever want to learn. If you learn something only for you, you store the memory one way. But if you learn something with the intention of passing it on to other people, you learn that thing much more holistically, deeper. You learn it better. So right now, think about who you might want to share this information with and how you might want to share it with them. Because if you learn each section with the intention to teach, the lesson will go in deeper. You will get more value from the program. Also, journal your progress. I highly recommend that you journal your progress either with some small notes or little audio recordings you make for yourself. But if you journal your progress, it'll create a sense of momentum. And then lastly, commit. You're watching this video right now, and the program begins properly with the next video. And at that point, what I want you to do is absolutely commit that over the course of the next 28 days, you're going to watch each of the short videos and actually do the exercises. This is not a passive program. This is an active program designed to create measurable results for you, to help you optimize your immune system, protect you, and have you have optimal health. Now, the 28 days are divided into 3 sections. Phase 1 is don't suppress your immune system. Phase 2 is don't trigger the immune system. And Phase 3 is strengthen the immune system. Let's go through the 3 of those now. When we say don't suppress the immune system, there are a number of things that can cause suppression of the immune system or weakening of the immune system. One of the things that we learned during the early days of the COVID pandemic is that chronic disease was an incredibly dangerous influence for people dealing with COVID infections. In fact, chronic diseases made it significantly more likely that someone would suffer a severe infection, hospitalization, and possibly even mortality. So we know that chronic diseases have an incredible influence on our immune system. Now, there are some chronic diseases which we might consider to be lifestyle created, and there are others that might be different. They might be considered, say, lifestyle influenced. As a good example, type 2 diabetes or some autoimmune diseases. We consider those to be lifestyle diseases. Now, I don't really like the phrase lifestyle disease because I believe that lifestyle disease is a weird way for the food industry or even the governmental agencies to kind of blame us for diseases that are the result of a terrible food supply. We'll talk a lot more about that as we go through the program. What we now know, though, is that many of those diseases are in fact reversible if you change your lifestyle. But there are other chronic diseases that are not changeable or not reversible, like, for example, type 1 diabetes. But I would argue that even type 1 diabetes is still lifestyle influence. And that is that if we make certain changes to our lifestyle, that we can improve conditions or we can reduce the dependency on insulin and medication. And so even if we have a chronic disease, what we want to do is do everything we can to lighten the load of that chronic disease because we know that chronic disease plays a part in suppressing immune function. Some medicines and drugs can also suppress immune function. In fact, medicines and drugs that were designed for autoimmune diseases are specifically meant to suppress immune function. So again, what we want to do is adjust our lifestyle in a way that's going to lighten the load of chronic diseases and maybe help us reduce our dependency on those medicines that might have a negative impact on our immune function. There are obviously other things that suppress immune function, like smoking. I'm hoping if you're watching this video right now, you don't have an issue with smoking. But if you do, we're going to talk a little bit about that and the role that it plays. Because any behavior like that, any behavior that is damaging you the whole time means that your immune system is constantly stressed and constantly having to deal with that threat, which of course makes it less able to deal with other threats that might come along. And no conversation about immune function would be complete if we didn't talk about sugar. Sugar is a major problem. Now, one of the things that we learned during the COVID pandemic in the early days was that sugar-influenced diseases like type 2 diabetes, obesity, and hypertension are definitely incredibly dangerous when we're dealing with a viral infection. But what we also know is that 80% of viruses and bacteria really like sugar. So even when somebody isn't type 2 diabetes, having excess blood glucose is simply not a particularly good idea. Further, having too much blood sugar makes your blood sticky and slows things down. What we want to do is consider our relationship with sugar because excess sugar or continual excess sugar is absolutely harming our immune system. And the scary thing about that is that sugar is everywhere. A few years ago, I was doing some research about sugar and diet and sugar-related diseases, and I stumbled upon something that just blew me away. I stumbled upon a study that said that the average American was eating 154 pounds or like 70 kilograms of sugar every year, and that most people in the Western world weren't far behind that. I couldn't believe the quantity. I went to my wife and I said to her, I just read that people are eating 150 pounds of sugar a year, and she says, that can't be right. She said, if that was true, it would be on the headlines of every newspaper in the world. Nobody eats that much sugar. That can't be right. Well, a couple of weeks later, we were in London, England, where I was speaking at a conference. And the speaker that was on stage right before me was President Bill Clinton. And during his Q&A section, this one woman said to him, Mr. President, can you tell us what do you think the most dangerous things are that humans face today? And I can't believe what happened next. But Mr. Clinton, President Clinton said, well, the average American is eating 154 pounds of sugar a year, and it's causing an obesity and diabetes epidemic. I couldn't believe it. And you know what was really crazy? My wife elbowed me and she said, oh my God, did you know that? Well, sometimes you have to hear it from another person before you can know that it's true. But the fact is that sugar is sneaking into everything. And so we're going to talk about sugar awareness and how we can improve our relationship with sugar. It doesn't mean never eating sugar again. It means being conscious and understanding of the role that sugar plays in our diet and how and why it's snuck into so many of our foods. Once we've completed that section, we're going to move into the section on strengthening your immune system. And that is preparing your body, or more to the point, giving your body what it needs. The best way to think of this section is like this. Imagine you and I were going to get in a car and we were going to drive from, say, New York to Los Angeles, or we were going to drive from Paris to Moscow. That's a pretty long drive either way, isn't it? And so what would we want to do? We'd want to make sure that the car's needs were getting met, wouldn't we? We'd want to make sure that it had enough gas, that we changed the oil, that we checked the brake fluid and the steering fluid, that we made sure that we had windshield washer fluid and antifreeze, that the tire pressure was correct. We'd want to make sure that the car's needs were getting met so that we could guarantee having a much better journey. If we didn't do those things, sure, we could deal with them on the road as they happened. When one of the tires wasn't right, we could top it up. Or if the engine got overheated, we could go and check the oil. But if we wait to do those things on the trip, well, first of all, it's going to make the trip a whole lot harder. And also, it's going to put us in danger because some of those things might happen in the middle of the trip when we're far away from any kind of service station. So better for us to take care of those things before the trip has even begun. And that's what we're going to do with your body. We're going to look at the core emotional and physical needs of the body in order to make sure that those things are handled and taken care of so that your immune system can operate optimally. I'm so excited for you to be doing this program. In 2020, we learned that our immune system was even more important than we ever imagined before. If you follow this program over the next 28 days, not only will you support your immune system in defending you even better than it ever could have before, but you will find yourself achieving a higher degree of health than you had before. And that is incredibly exciting. I also want to be really clear. I'm not supposing or I'm not proposing that you do this program instead of getting a vaccine or normal medical intervention. No, what I'm saying is this is something that we do as well. Taking care of our health is the foundation of immunity. Taking care of our health is the foundation of quality of life. And so over the next 28 days, we're going to work on strengthening and optimizing your immune system. And I am so, so grateful to have you here, and I'm excited. I'll see you in the first video that begins tomorrow. I want to have a conversation with you about the history of tobacco, the realities of smoking, and what it really means. And I don't want to have the same talk that you've heard before. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you either are currently smoking, using snus or some kind of oral tobacco, or you have friends or relatives that you care about that are using tobacco products. So I'm going to share some information with you that may be a little different than what you're expecting. I'm not going to talk to you about what it must feel like to cough up chunks of your lung when you have horrible, emphysema and lung disease and cancer. And all. That's not this video. This video is not about frightening you into stopping. Because the reality is, at this point, if you're still smoking, you're aware of all those things and you're doing it anyway. Hell, probably depending on what country you live on, there's beautiful graphic pictures right there on the package and they're not working for you, right? So I'm not here to frighten you. I'm here to talk to you about who you are and why you're doing this and how they did this to you. And when I say how they did this to you, I really want to be clear that this was done to you and it's not your fault. It was done to you by people that were able to afford the research to figure out the exact psychology and how you can trick an entire population of people into inhaling fumes into their lung that they know are poisonous, that they know are dangerous. And by the way, let's be clear. Do you remember what your first, if you were a smoker or you are a smoker, do you remember what your first drag was like? Your body did everything in its power to stop you from doing it. But they had used the most powerful principles in marketing. They'd used powerful forms of hypnosis and manipulation to make absolutely sure that your desire to smoke, that the meaning behind those cigarettes was far more powerful than the discomfort you initially experienced. It is not your fault. So let's talk for a minute about manipulation. In one of the earlier videos, we were talking about how the tobacco industry got women to smoke. So I'm going to recap that for you. In essence, what happened was they'd arrived at a place where all of the men in the world were smoking. I mean, I'm kidding. It wasn't all men, but frankly, it was a majority of men were smokers. And they kind of gotten to the point where the people who were smoking, the people who were not smoking, they couldn't get them to smoke, and the market was saturated. So they had to start looking at new markets. Well, new markets went two places. One is children, and the other one is women. They figured they could start marketing to children and they can get people to smoke earlier. So if somebody smokes for an extra 10 years, that's 10 years more profit out of that person. And so they started developing brands and advertising campaigns specifically designed to appeal to children. The Marlboro Man may well appeal to men who want to be alpha, but don't you think that the average 12-year-old boy looking up and seeing that guy on the horse with his lasso and his hat, don't you think that was pretty appealing to them? I want to grow up to be just like that person. In fact, what we're very clear about in psychology today is that as a boy, whoever you idolize between the ages of about 7 and 11 years old is largely who you become later in life. So do you think maybe they were figuring this out? Do you think maybe having a camel, a cartoon camel, was that to appeal to middle-aged adults? Or was that to appeal to kids? Yeah. You see, where we are is that they went after kids. They went after them and they said, hey, everything you want to be when you grow up is about smoking. The best race car drivers are smokers. The best actors are smokers. And this was prolific in all the movies and all the sports. They went after everything they could to convince younger people to smoke. Then it was, okay, wait a second now. What about women? I mean, there's as many of them as there is of men, and if we could get them to smoke, we could literally double our sales and profits if we could just get women to smoke. But women won't smoke. Women won't smoke because, frankly, women don't like dirty, smelly behaviors. By the way, if you're currently a smoker and you're a man and you're single, let me explain something to you. You're a smoker. Like, let's be really clear about what that means. A woman who does not smoke can smell you from 20 to 50 feet away. It is disgusting to us. It's not your fault. I'm not shaming you. I'm saying that to the rest of the world, you can't smell it anymore because your smell buds and your taste buds have been damaged by the chemicals and by the smoke that you've been inhaling. The rest of us can smell it from 20 to 50 feet, and it is worse than body odor. When we have to sit beside you on a plane, we want to leave the plane. It's a very difficult thing, and that's why women wouldn't start smoking. So they couldn't get women to take on this behavior, this disgusting, smelly behavior. So they engaged a guy, Edward Bernays, I believe was his name, and he was unbelievably brilliant at population psychology, mass psychology. How do you move a people? In fact, he was a Jewish guy, and the Nazis even expropriated his work to create the movement that they did in Germany. I mean, like he understood crowd psychology unbelievably well. So the tobacco industry brought him over to North America, and they said, how can we get women to smoke? And he said, well, in order to get women to smoke, what we're going to have to do is understand them. We're going to have to understand women. So great, let's understand women. And so they started to to investigate and really get into the psychology of what was going on for women at that time in America. And as it turns out, the most prevalent thing that was going on at that stage was the suffrage movement, the beginnings of women's independence and the ideas of equality. Can you imagine the nerve of these women wanting to equal pay and equal rights? It was ridiculous. Of course, that was the age. That's how things were at that point. And so Bernays says, hey guys, all we got to do is we now know what women want. They want equality and independence. And if we can just get them to believe that cigarettes are equal to equality and independence, they will smoke. And so that's what they did. They came up with ad campaigns that tied women's independence and toughness and all these things about equality directly to cigarettes. You may even remember Virginia Slims. They had a beautiful poster. There's a woman leaned up against a wall in a very masculine posture. She's got a scarf around her head, a little grease on her cheek. She's wearing a men's shirt tied off at the belly so it's got a feminine touch. She's wearing worker jeans or overalls. She's got a cigarette in her hand, and the slogan says, "You've come a long way, baby." Really? Really? That's how you're going to get independence? You're going to get independence by inhaling smoke from a stick? You know, that has like so many known carcinogens in it that you're almost certainly going to die from this habit, and simply because we've lied to you and made you believe that your independence is attached to it, you're going to start smoking? So I want you to understand that if you currently smoke or you currently take tobacco products, it is not your fault. They have spent millions upon millions of dollars manipulating your psychology, manipulating the psychology of our various countries around the world to get you to do this. It is absolutely not your fault. If you continue to smoke after this video, I'm going to say it's your fault because I'm going to share some things with you that'll help you to stop. Here's one of the things I want to suggest to you. This program has been proven over and over again to somehow mitigate withdrawal symptoms from addiction. I don't understand why that is. Oh, I do now think I understand why it is. But it was a surprise to me when we discovered it. It was not something we knew. But what happened was after class, after class, after class, we had people that would just stop having caffeine and stop having alcohol and stop having drugs. Not necessarily permanently, because some people would say, I stopped having alcohol and now I drink the occasional glass of wine. We're not saying they have to give up alcohol their whole lives. But very many people drink alcohol habitually rather than consciously. Isn't that the same thing with tobacco? I mean, if you're a smoker or if you know a smoker, haven't you ever seen the situation where somebody takes a cigarette out of the pack, puts it in their mouth and lights it and doesn't remember doing that? Like, wow, I don't even remember doing that. I don't even remember taking it out. It becomes an unconscious behavior. And what happens on this program is that because we boost your nutrition up so dramatically, what happens at that stage is withdrawal symptoms are reduced. And here's the principle behind it. When somebody has malnourishment, then withdrawal symptoms are amplified. When somebody is malnourished, when they're not getting enough nutrients in their life, then they seek to fill that void with addictive substances. So somebody might be addicted to caffeine, or they might be addicted to alcohol, or they might be addicted to cocaine, or whatever the case may be. In fact, crystal meth is particularly good at this. If you know anything about crystal meth, one of the things you might know is that crystal meth users really, really enjoy fast, greasy food with lots of sugar and grease in it. They eat a ton of it. And guess what? They end up malnourished, and then their addiction to the crystal meth is amplified, and they can never get off this stuff. If you want to get somebody off crystal meth, I'll tell you right now, step one, get them to eat properly. That's the toughest thing. If you can do that, then the withdrawal won't be nearly so powerful when they stop. But while we're talking about withdrawal, let's talk about cigarettes. I mean, look, if I'm addicted to heroin and I stop taking heroin, I'm addicted and I stop, what will happen to my body? What will happen? I'll have withdrawal symptoms, right? Headaches, fever, vomiting, and it could last for 2 weeks. Shakes, awful physical withdrawal symptoms. My body physically calling out for the drug. What about when somebody quits caffeine? Same thing. At a minimum, when people addicted to caffeine give up caffeine, at a minimum, they end up with bad headaches. But very many people that have really serious caffeine problems, like I read a research paper about employees in Atlanta that work for Coca-Cola, and they have, they get a Coca-Cola allowance. They're just given lots of Coca-Cola products, and apparently in the office building, instead of having water fountains, or maybe as well as having water fountains, there's like Coke fountains. So they can just like all the time. And then when they quit their job and they settle down to a normal level of caffeine intake, many of them experience withdrawal symptoms identical to that of heroin withdrawal. Vomiting, fever, shakes that can last for 10 days to 2 weeks. That's what happened to me when I quit caffeine. So that's what happens when we quit caffeine. What about alcohol? What happens when somebody quits alcohol? Very addictive substance as well. In fact, it's addictive in the same way that sugar is. And when they quit, they can have the DTs and shakes and headaches and a number of things. So let me ask you, what happens when somebody quits smoking? What? Headaches? No. Shakes? No. Vomiting? No. Nothing. Nothing happens because it's a habit and not a physical addiction. Nicotine, I believe, is not physically addictive. It's one of the biggest marketing lies in the history of marketing lies. And here's how it works. You, I trust at this point, probably are aware that placebo works. Placebo works. If you are given a placebo pill, they work. In fact, not only do placebos work, and just in case I need to define placebo, because I know we've got clients from all over the world, a placebo is basically an inert pill that has nothing in it. It's a sugar pill. But when we give it to somebody and tell them it's medicine, it actually can work. In some cases, in some extreme cases, even better than medicine. In fact, placebos even work, not as well, mind you, but placebos have even been shown to work when the client knows it's a placebo. Isn't that amazing? Our mind has an incredible capacity to change our biochemistry based on a fake pill that we took. And a little pill is not quite as effective as a bigger pill. And an even bigger pill is a better placebo than the other pill. In fact, a placebo injection is more powerful than the pill. And even placebo surgeries are more effective than injections, because the more invasive the placebo, the more of a sacrifice involved in taking or using the placebo, the more powerful its effect on the body. And so what I believe happened is the tobacco industry, as they saw people trying to quit like crazy in the 60s, in the 70s, they decided that that would be a really good time to admit that it turns out that nicotine is addictive and that they've been hiding that from the world. And as a result of that, the government would have forced them to put on the label, cigarettes are addictive. Now I want you to think about this. If they're not addictive, they're not allowed to put it on the package. It's called false advertising. They cannot. Now these days, what do they do with video games? If you want to sell video games, you go, the most addictive game ever. You put right on it, it's the most addictive game ever. But you see, if you write that a substance is addictive, it actually has to be addictive. If you put it on the food product and say, this is addictive, it has to be. Otherwise, it's a false message. What I'm going to suggest to you is that in the most genius, brilliant, manipulative marketing stroke of genius, they got the government to force them to do it, to put right there on the package, cigarettes are addictive. And so now you have a reason not to stop. What I want to tell you is that I believe that smoking cigarettes is no more addictive than sucking your thumb. In fact, it's almost the same behavior. It's almost exactly the same behavior. So when you quit, it is difficult because you had a habit, and it's breaking a habit, just like a child needs to stop sucking their thumb. It's a habit and not an addiction. I will add one thing that might help you a little bit with this, is that there's something behaviorally that smoking does that communicates to your nervous system that the whole world is okay. And that one thing makes the habit really powerful. You see, the way our nervous system is set up is that when we're breathing in a shallow way, when we breathe shallow, we create stress. So if we breathe up here, we create stress in our bodies. When we breathe deeply into our lungs, we create calm in our bodies. And here's the mechanism. Here's why. I want you to imagine you and me, we're out for a walk in the bush in Africa, and we walk around a corner, and there's a bunch of lions standing there. Do you think that in that moment we go, look, lions? No, I don't think so. We're like, and it's producing adrenaline. It's telling us that everything is not okay and that we need to produce adrenaline and get ready for big bursts of energy, to climb a tree, to run away, to fight, or something. So we breathe shallow to create stress. But when we're back in camp and the animals are gone and everything is safe, then what do? We take nice, deep, natural breaths. And we feel better. And so if you smoke right now, if you consider yourself to be a smoker, then I want you to do it with me. Come on, do it. Get yourself a fake cigarette, stick it in your hand, and then take your fake lighter, put the cigarette in your mouth. Now I want you to remember, what is the first drag like? The first drag, by the way, is your favorite drag, isn't it? If you're really honest, the first drag is the best drag. Then the second one's not so bad, third one, but after that you're just smoking, right? And by the way, it's not sexy, but that's a whole different topic. In the meantime, you take your cigarette, and what's that first drag like? I've been watching people smoke for a long time. This is typically the way I see them do it. They light it with their mouth, with the strength of their mouth, and then once it's lit, they take a drag, and it kind of goes like this. They often top up with a little extra air, right? And then they hold it at the top for a minute, and then they let it go. So that's what we're going to do together. Are you ready? So take your fake cigarette, get your fake lighter, and we're going to light it. Okay, it's lit. Are we ready? Here we go. That's what you want. That's the feeling you've been looking for. The feeling that everything is okay, everything is calm, and everything is great. But the tobacco industry has given you that feeling and all kinds of visual anchors that somehow smoking is sexy and the coolest people do it. And then you're attached. And then you have a habit. But I really don't think you have an addiction. And so up until now, your smoking was not your fault. This would be a good time to stop, because now you know what's going on. Becoming a Non-Smoker, Meditation by Eric Edmeades. Welcome to an incredible journey. An adventure in identity change. A process of changing your future. This meditation comes in 4 sections. Section 1 is a deep relaxation designed to help you to get into the right state to make lasting change. In Section 2, while in a relaxed state, I'll share some information about the process, about smoking, about your future, that will help you to quickly and easily accept this new identity as a non-smoker. In Section 3, we will go through an experiential phase, where you will discover the real reasons for smoking and the fallacies built into them. And in Section 4, we'll go through a guided journey, an inner journey, a journey of transformation, a journey of identity change, so that you can quickly and easily become a non-smoker from the inside to the out. Let's begin. To begin, get comfortable. Find a way to sit or lie down in a deeply relaxed place where you have maximum comfort. Make any adjustments you need to make to your body, to your position, to increase that comfort and remove any discomfort. As you become more comfortable now, I would like you to take a deep breath and release. I'd like you to take another really deep breath, filling your lungs all the way to the top. And then let it go. I'd like you to continue to place your attention on your breath and breathe deeply as we go through a process of relaxing your body step by step. Going into a deep place of relaxation is not as simple as me counting from 10 down to 1 and you're there. There's a process. A process that will start with your 10 toes. I'd like you to place your attention on your toes, starting with the smallest and working your way up through to the largest. I'd like you to notice them, feel them, relax them, wiggle them a little, and then let them go. As you let them go, I'd like you to feel a warm, relaxing sensation developing in your toes and moving into your feet. The soles of your feet across the bridges, through the heels and into the ankle of each foot. And then I'd like you to let that warm, relaxing sensation move its way up through your calves and shins, 9, and circulate through your knees. I'd like you to have this warm, relaxing feeling circulating through your knees like a figure 8. And then you can let the warm, relaxing sensation move from your knees up through your thighs, hamstrings, bum, and groin, 7. Let your abdomen relax and your lower back. Allow the warmth and the relaxation to move all the way up through your back, 6. Through your chest, up over your shoulders, and all the way down into each of your 5 fingers on each hand. Allow the warmth and the relaxation to continue to soothe you, and let it wash up over your shoulders into your neck, over your scalp, and down across your forehead, into your face, 3, into each of your 2 eyes. Allow the little muscles on the side of your eyes to let go and let your tongue hang loose in your mouth. And then seek out any last tension that you need to let go to feel like 1. In this incredibly deep place of relaxation, your body gets an incredible rest.
Your heart has to do a fraction of the work that it normally does to get oxygen flowing around your system. And your brain suddenly will find itself with extra energy, extra capacity. And it is from here that we can take an adventure of identity change, that we can make the shift in identity to becoming a non-smoker. As we move into the next section, it's important for you to know that your mind might wander. You may hear everything that I'm about to say, or you may hear none of it, or some. You may agree or disagree with some of the things I say, and all I'm going to suggest is that you maintain an open mind, to be willing to see things with a new perspective. Smoking is a fascinating habit. It's not a habit that you ever chose. Yes, you may have chosen to smoke the first cigarette or to take a drag. But there was never really a point in time when you made the decision, I think I'll become a smoker now. It was a decision that was made for you by effective marketing, maybe some peer pressure. And you were convinced that there were certain things that would be given to you as somebody who occasionally smoked. You were told it would help you relax, that it would allow you to spend time focusing on you, that it would let you be a rebel, that it would let you be sexier. These are some of the reasons that people choose to maintain this identity. But what's really important for you to remember is that if you have ever smoked a cigarette in order to relax, it's been a false relaxation. In other words, the very tension that you're seeking to let go was caused by the habit in the first place. And then any tensions that existed in your life were amplified by that tension. And so the cigarette giving you a sense of relaxation is really just the cigarette giving back to you what it's already taken away. You felt, perhaps younger, that smoking might be an opportunity to assert authority, or reject authority, or rebel. But today, if it's not your choice, if you've had difficulty stopping even when you wanted to, then where's the rebellion now? Where is the rebellion now? The rebellion today is in rejecting the programming. The rebellion today is in deciding for yourself. Everything we were promised by cigarettes, everything we were assured we would get, did we get it? No. We were told that it would help us relax, but only because it first makes us tense. We were told that it would allow us to give ourselves a gift. We know that's not true anymore. We were told it would allow us to self-express, to rebel. Only now, we're just following. And as you contemplate your reasons, as you contemplate how real they are, or whether or not those promises have been met, I want to share a perspective with you that might challenge your ideas. There are two types of addiction. There is habitual addiction, non-physical addiction. addictions of habit, like, say, video games or sucking one's thumb as a child. These behaviors become so habitual that we think of them as addictive. In fact, in many ways they really are. When children stop sucking their thumbs, they go through a unique style of stress. While there's no physical withdrawal, they do notice something missing, and emotionally they crave it and they call out for it. And so, for children, it can be a hard habit to shake. Video games also can be addictive. They stimulate a bunch of neurochemical responses in us, which we enjoy. And if we play them long enough, and hard enough, and consistently enough, we can start to feel as though that's the best way to access those feel-good chemicals that our body makes. And then we can feel a sense of addiction. Remember that addiction is simply the lack of choice. When somebody feels addicted to something, it means they don't have a choice. They have to have it. The second type of addiction is physical. One might argue that you are addicted to oxygen. If you go without it for more than a few minutes, you have a pretty serious problem. But with substances like cocaine, heroin, alcohol, or any number of other addictive drugs, we know that they can have physical withdrawal symptoms. That is, that on top of the emotional addiction that might be present, the body itself is craving the substance. And when the body is craving it, the person trying to stop the habit can experience any number of symptoms ranging from headaches to shakes, fever, vomiting, severe illness. And then after a period of time, as the body finally releases the addiction, the symptoms go away. What I want to share with you today is that I believe that cigarettes are not physically addictive, or to the degree that nicotine might be, it is so low on the addiction scale that it stimulates no physical withdrawal symptoms at all. In fact, in stress studies I've read about, people quitting smoking experience precisely the same type of unique stress as children stopping sucking their thumbs or their fingers. I believe it has been a masterstroke of the tobacco industry to have us all believe that nicotine is highly addictive. Because that way, when faced with our emotional addictions, we have an excuse. Oh, I just can't. I'm addicted. I acknowledge emotional addiction is real. There is a very big difference between an emotional addiction and a physical addiction. And for decades upon decades, we've had labeling and messaging and marketing that has told us that cigarettes are addictive. This is what's called a nocebo, or an opposite of a placebo. Told often enough, frequently enough, we begin to believe it. This is addictive, and I won't be able to stop. And yet, whenever you talk to somebody who has stopped for a long period of time or quit entirely, they will tell you the same story. No withdrawal. No headaches. No vomiting. No fever. Yes, they might find themselves snacking more often or needing to fidget with their hands, but that's habit replacement, not physical addiction. And so, as you make this change, keep an eye out for evidence that this is simply an emotional habit. That with a strong enough decision on your part, that you can simply change it. That your body will not disagree with you, and your body will not call out in its own rebellion, looking for a substance that it's craving, because it's not. Over the days that follow your first stoppage, you'll notice things like your sense of smell and taste repairing, getting better. Keep your eyes open for how easy it's going to become. And remember something else. In the same way that you never chose to become a smoker, you may never know the moment that you truly become a non-smoker, because there are two. There's the moment that you've made the decision to stop. And then there's the moment that you have your very last craving. Over the next few days, as a craving may come up, remember it's a habit, not a physical addiction. And remember that you will never know which craving was the last one. Every single craving you have might just be the last one. It might just be the opportunity to truly become a non-smoker. How? Because as the craving comes up and you deny it for what it is, and you spend another hour, another 5 hours, another day as a non-smoker, you take a decided step toward completely changing your identity. Soon, we're going to go on a guided journey. A journey of choice, a journey of decision, a journey of identity. But before we go there, I want to share an experience with you. I want to share a perspective. As you sit there relaxed, wondering whether or not this is going to help or work, wondering whether or not you're going to, this time, make the transition to truly become a non-smoker, I want you to have a cigarette with me. A virtual cigarette. As you're sitting there now, in your mind's eye, or if you're feeling very brave, lift the hand that normally holds your cigarettes and bring a fake cigarette, mime a cigarette coming up to your mouth, and then light it in your imagination and take your first drag. Hold at the top. And let it go. How do you feel? Do you feel relaxed? Well, let's take another one together. A nice long drag. Hold again at the top. Do you feel even more relaxed? Breathing. The real habit is deep breathing. When we breathe deeply, we communicate a message of safety, a message that the environment and circumstances we find ourselves in that moment are safe. This is because for hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors learned to breathe shallowly when facing danger from predators or enemy tribes. Breathing quietly was a path to safety. And so our bodies learned, when we are breathing very quietly in a shallow form in the top of our lungs, the environment around us must be unsafe, and so we produce stress chemicals. It is only when the danger is past, it is only when our ancestors felt completely safe, that they would stretch out their lungs and breathe fully with no fear of making noise. And our bodies learned again that this meant we were safe. Every time you've ever gone out for a cigarette, the first drag has calmed you, relaxed you, not because of what was in it, but because of how you breathed. And so, with all of this in mind, we're going to undertake a journey together. Before we take that journey, I want you to know that it's absolutely normal for your mind to wander. This is a journey of the subconscious. And so your conscious mind might want to think about shopping lists, work assignments, friends, social life, business endeavors. If you find that happening, just acknowledge the thought, let it go, and come back to the visualization. It is absolutely normal for you not to be able to see anything, even when I'm describing them. Your body has the capacity to create a vision through its own interpretation of sound, sight, smell, and color, and so forth. And so as we go through this journey, just experience it how your subconscious allows you to experience it. Find an even deeper place of relaxation and make any adjustments to your current situation that will help you to feel more comfortable. As you do that, I'd like you to take the feeling of warmth and relaxation that might be in your body right now, and I'd like you to just double it. And then double it again. I want you to go even deeper. I want you to approach the sleep barrier. I don't want you to cross it, unless you really want to. I just want you to be deeply relaxed. I want you to imagine that you're standing in a clearing, a meadow, gorgeous knee-high grasses and flowers all around you, the sounds of birds flying by, a breeze blowing through the surrounding trees and grasses, and a general sense of peace and safety. Gorgeous warmth coming down from the sun, and the breeze cooling so that you have a beautiful, comfortable temperature. As you look around and you notice the sound of water bubbling by in a local brook, you notice that there's a trail, that some of the grass is shorter where people have walked before. This meadow, it's hard to know how to get out of it. You could go to the left, but it seems the trees are really thick over there. You could go behind you, but it looks like there might be some kind of mountain back there. You could go to the right, but it seems like that's where the river is and it might be too big to cross. You could go straight ahead, but again, the density of the forest. Sometimes when we want to escape something, we just don't know the route. But then, as you listen to my voice, you notice there is a sign of a trail, a path out, a different way of doing things. This time will be different. You will get out of the meadow. You start walking, hearing the water to your right and the wind rustling through the trees all around you and birds calling, and you continue to walk forward. And as you get closer to the edge of the forest, you see that there are two doors. There are two doors sitting there at the edge of the forest. Where do they go? Well, you go over to the door on the left. And the door on the left, you notice, has a sign. And it says, no. Well, you open the door anyway and look through. And to your amazement, you don't see the forest on the other side of the door like you would have expected. You see something else. You see your own future. Moments from your future. Maybe like a montage or a slideshow. Moments of your future. But there's something not right about this future. As you see yourself in a social situation or walking down a street, standing outside a restaurant, talking with a bunch of friends. And then you realize what it is. That you is smoking. And you don't do that anymore. How weird is that? You reach over to the door on the right. And you open it. And it shows you also the future. Some of the same events. Some of the same circumstances, but in this view, you look better. Your skin is glowing. Your eyes are bright. There's something about you. You feel good. And then you realize, of course, this is your future. This is the extension of your current present. This is you as a non-smoker. In fact, as your future lays out in front of you, you can even see some of your very recent future. That's right. Some things that are coming up soon. But you can see them as memories through the door. And you can see moments where cravings came up. But then look. You just looked up and you said to yourself, this might just be the last one. And this might just be the opportunity to become a non-smoker. It might happen right here, just by denying this one craving, or maybe the next one. And then you smiled. In fact, you can go to the very moment that you decided to change your identity, because it will happen twice. You will make a decision. You will maybe have made a decision to become a non-smoker. And then there will come the first day with no cravings. That might take 1 or 2 days. It might take a week or a little bit longer. But the day is coming. And you can see it right there through the door. You didn't close the other door. So let's take a look through there again. Wow, what a difference. Skin is gray. Eyes not so bright. Also, you start to notice some things you maybe didn't notice before, like how the people around you react, even when you're not smoking, just because it's on you. In fact, as your own sense of taste and smell returns, you may begin to realize how little you ever really enjoyed it anyway. Wait, through the door, the no door. There's something way out there. It's you. Sitting in a doctor's office, there's a scan up on the wall. You know what? No. Close the door. Close it now. Go back to the S door. Open it. Step through it. Welcome to this future. Welcome to becoming a non-smoker. Take a nice deep breath and let it go. Bring your awareness back to your environment. Bring your awareness back to where you are right now in space and time. But notice that you feel different. Notice that you feel more free. Notice that you feel more relaxed. Notice that you've changed. And now, as you accept that change into your life, you accept this future that you've adopted, as you accept this identity that you've chosen, you can bring yourself back to the present and ease your eyes open and enjoy this future. Make yourself comfortable. Find a position, lying down or sitting, that feels good. Seek out any distractions or discomforts and make them right. Relax. Take some nice, slow, deep breaths and relax even more. Getting into a place of deep relaxation will help this process and make it significantly more effective. For the purposes of this process, it might be useful to consider your immune system as having three core functions: cleansing and maintenance, preparation for and recovery from injuries, and of course, protection from invasive pathogens such as germs, viruses, or bacteria. Your body tasks resources according to urgency. Each of these three functions are important for your health, but only one of them is immediately urgent, pressing, in the moment. Cleansing and maintenance and protecting you from pathogens are generally not performed in the face of pending urgency. Injury, on the other hand, is different. When your body perceives that it is about to undertake a serious injury or that it has done so, it will task resources immediately to help you recover from that injury and to prevent you from bleeding excessively internally or out. And so this process is about retasking your immune system. It's about reprioritizing cleansing and maintenance. It's about raising the shields to protect you from pathogens. It's about reminding your body that you are not now facing any immediate injury. In the first part, we're going to focus on deepening levels of relaxation. The more relaxed you are, the more the body will understand that its environment is safe. And the safer you feel, the better able your body will be to do the functions it needs to do, the important but not urgent functions of cleansing and maintaining you from the inside, and of course raising your shields to protect you from the outside. In the second part, we're going to go through a guided visualization designed to lift your immune system, to raise your shields. So for now, continue breathing. Once again, seek out any discomforts. Make any adjustments you need to make so that you can feel as comfortable as possible. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to take a really deep, slow breath. Not yet. In a moment. When I ask you to take this nice, slow, deep breath, I want you to breathe in all the way so that you first feel your lungs filling up at the top and that air continues to fill until it fills the bottom of your lungs and pushes your belly out. And then I'm going to ask you to hold for a moment and then ease the air out and notice how relaxing that is. Notice how it makes you feel. Get ready to breathe in. In 3, 2, breathe in. Hold at the top and relax it out. Relax it all the way out. Take another deep, lung-filling breath. And then relax it out again. As we find a deeper and deeper state of relaxation, your mind will begin to wander. As your mind wanders and wanders, you may find different thoughts popping up. Pleasant thoughts, maybe even some stressful thoughts. If any of the stressful thoughts do pop up, all you need to do is smile gently, relax more, and know that no injury is coming, that this is an esoteric threat. It's something you can deal with another time. Relax. Think about some of the things in your life that are most magical, that are most enjoyable, that are most fulfilling, for which you hold the greatest gratitudes. What are you most grateful for in your life right now? Who are you most grateful for in your life right now? What are you most excited about? What are you most curious about? What are you most interested in? Your mind will always process possibilities, but if you train it to focus on exciting, interesting, optimistic possibilities, then your body will relax. It will prepare you for action rather than prepare you for injury. It is from this deep place of relaxation that we're going to go through a guided visualization designed to get your body to let go of any concerns and fear and stress and feel strong and confident and comfortable and safe about the present. I want you to imagine right now that you have a control panel, a visual heads-up display, like meters in front of your eyes. And you can see on the one side the meter indicating the level of stress, anxiety, concern, frustration that your body might be feeling at a given moment. And on the other side, you see another meter. And that meter indicates the amount of calm, comfort, confidence, optimism, excitement, and safety that your body feels about the present and immediate future. And now you can notice that there's a dial that you can turn with your mind. And as you experiment with that dial, you'll notice that the meters indicating stress on one side and calm on the other are directly related to each other. As your stress goes up, your sense of calm and safety goes down. And as your stress and anxiety goes down, your sense of optimism, excitement, and safety goes up. You'll notice that when you turn the dial clockwise, your stress levels go up. I want you right now to turn it slightly clockwise and notice what pops up in your mind. What are you worried about? What are you concerned about? What are you stressed about? And notice if any of those things are actually physically dangerous to you. If they're not, then they may be more of an esoteric or paper threat, not something that's immediately dangerous to you. Turn the dial counterclockwise. Watch the stress go down. As it goes down, you'll notice the calm, abundance, and optimism goes up. This is something that you can do at any time. At any time you start to feel life getting heavy, piling upon you. Anytime you start to feel your body tensing up or tightening, you simply need to come back to this place. Relax, close your eyes, and start to dial it back. Dial down the anxiety, dial down the fear, dial down the stress, and automatically dial up the optimism. Dial up the excitement. Dial up the positive curiosity. Dial up the feeling of safety. The safer you feel, the healthier you will be. It's so important to remember that your immune system operates in direct relationship to what you are focusing on. And so, by dialing it down, by dialing down the fear and the anxiety and the stress, your immune system doesn't need to worry about those things, doesn't need to prepare for some injury that's never happening. Instead, your immune system can relax and it can perform maintenance and cleansing. It can raise your shields and protect you. And so what I want you to notice right now is that you can turn that dial in your mind all the way around and all the way around again. And you'll notice that the comfort and safety bar is getting higher and brighter until you begin to notice a feeling like a big blue shield forming around your body, you raising the shields. A big blue shield forming around your body. A shield protecting you from the outside. A shield that is strengthened every time you relax. A shield that is strengthened every time that you sleep. A shield that is strengthened when you hydrate and breathe and get good sunlight and take care of your food. A shield that takes care of you when you take care of it. Again, dialing down the stress, dialing down the worry, dialing down the concern, and dialing up the relaxation, dialing up the sense of safety, dialing up the feeling of confidence, dialing up your faith. And while you're here, in this place, this safe place, I want you to think for a minute about the things in your past that you worried about. Things long in the past that you were once concerned about, or worried about, or fretted over. I want you to notice how many of the things never actually happened. I want you to think about the amount of energy, the focus that you applied to them, the thought, the worry, and how many of these things simply didn't take place. And then I want you to notice that maybe some of them did. Maybe some of the things that you worried about took place. But now I want you to realize that most of them served you. Most of them helped you. Most of them made you stronger. Most of them taught you things. Most of them did not cause you injury. And so the vast majority of the things that you have ever worried about have either never happened or been great gifts. And so in the future, if you feel some worry come up, you can smile in the knowledge that the very thing that you're worried about probably won't even happen. And if it does, it'll be good. Remember, you can always come back to this place, dial down the stress, dial down the worry, relax your body, and help yourself feel good. Create a sense of safety, optimism, and faith about your future, and support your immune system in defending you in the best possible way. Overcoming the Flu, a guided meditation by Eric Edmeades as part of the Immunity Blueprint program by Mind Valley. This program is not designed to replace any traditional medical treatment or any medical treatment at all. It is designed to supplement anything you are doing to help yourself recover and feel better. You are about to undertake a healing activation, an activation of a healing mindset. Your body wants to heal. It wants to recover, and it's good at it too. A key part of recovery is rest. Often, when we're not feeling well, when we're battling something like the flu, we feel tired, and yet we push on. We push on with our work, we push on with our parenting, we push on with our responsibilities. For now, you can let all those things go. Because this time that we're going to spend together is just for you. It is only for you. To begin, we're going to go into a very deep place of relaxation. We're going to go into a very deep place of relaxation because the more relaxed you are, the less energy you are spending on tension, and the more energy your body has for healing. So, make yourself comfortable. Sit or lie in a way that's going to allow you to relax deeply. If you drift off, that is perfectly okay. Your unconscious mind will hear what it needs to hear and process what it needs to process to help you go through this entire process. And so, you can simply let go and relax. Sitting or lying in a place that makes you feel good, I want you to seek out any tension. I want you to seek out any resistance. I want you to seek out any discomfort and just make whatever adjustments you need to make to allow yourself to relax deeply. And now as that relaxation begins to take hold, and I want you to imagine it getting even deeper, relaxing even more. You might find that this is a good time to take a bit of a breath, a deep one, to fill your lungs all the way up and to hold the air at the top for a little bit and then let it out. Go ahead and do that now with me. Notice how good that feels. Keep your attention on your breath and take long, slow, deliberate breaths. As you breathe in, I want you to breathe in healing oxygen. And as you breathe out, I want you to breathe out anything that feels wrong. Breathe out the germs. Breathe out the virus. Breathe out the bacteria. Breathe out the toxins. Breathe out the negative energy. Breathe in. And then let it all go. As you continue to breathe, I want you to deepen your relaxation. I want you to relax your feet, toes. Relax your whole legs so they start to feel really heavy. Allow that relaxation to spread all the way up through your bum and into your torso, your stomach and lower back. Allow the relaxation to make its way up into that tight part in the mid back, up into the upper back, and let it pour down over your arms until even your fingertips feel relaxed. Bring that warmth and relaxation up over your scalp, down through your forehead, into the corners of your eyes so that even little muscles there can let go and your tongue can lie loosely in your mouth. As you enjoy this feeling of relaxation, I'd like us to go on a journey. I'd like us to go on a journey into the most gorgeous, safe, lush forest. I want you to imagine now that you're already feeling strong. I want you to imagine what it was like to feel really healthy and strong. And I want you to imagine that you are that way now walking through the forest. This forest, it's magical. The trees listen to you. The wind blows around and calms you. And the birds seem to make exactly the right noises for you to feel as safe and comfortable as possible. As you continue to make your way through the forest, you feel stronger with each step. Your faith returns. Your faith that your body is magical and powerful and incredibly intuitive at healing. You start to think about what it is that led up to this situation, what it is that you need to learn for the next time. Could you have rested a little more? Could you have taken a little better care? Your body will support your healing process so much better if it knows that you are learning from the experience. What will you do better next time? What will you do more of? What might you do less of? As you continue to walk through the forest, step by step, thinking these thoughts, enjoying the relaxation and the peace, you notice a sign up ahead. Fountain. Fountain of healing. And that's curious. You walk along, up to the sign, and it leads you to the right, down the path that turned to steps. 10 of them. 10, 9, 8, you're going down. 7, 6, 5, 4. You pause on the third step and look, and continue. 2, 1. You find yourself in a small clearing with a waterfall cascading off the cliffs in front of you into a pool of water. The cleanest, clearest, most amazing water. It's time to take a drink. And so you lean down and drink some of the water. Exactly the right glass appears for you. You fill it. You hold the water up and let the light pass through it, and you see how clear and pure it is. But it also has a sparkle to it. You drink it down, and you feel it passing your lips, across your tongue, down your throat, into your stomach, but then you feel it continue. You feel it go out to every cell in your body. You feel it going out through your arms to the fingertips. You feel it tingling all the way down to your toes. Healing, nourishing, hydrating. And you begin to realize that every glass of water that you have from here on out is going to have that same feeling, that same healing contribution as you hydrate yourself to support your healing. Every glass that you drink for the next few days comes straight from this fountain. I want you to notice too that the feeling in your body of unwell has a color. I'm not sure what that color is for you. Maybe sludgy gray or a thick muddy brown. But there's another color. You remember it now. It's a strong color, a healing color. It's in there. It's in there hiding in different places. But the water has brought it back to life. And right now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that your body is being taken over by this healing color. And as it spreads all around your body, all through your face, deep into the sinuses, all the way to the back of your head, down your neck, through your shoulders, down your arms, into your stomach, into your chest, through the lower back, all the way through your groin, through your bum, through your legs, down to the toes. If you begin to notice that color taking over now, that healing color taking over, the further it pushes into the reaches of your entire body, that sludgy, icky, unhealthy feeling fades away, a little bit at a time. There's another trail that leads off from the fountain, and you feel called, compelled. You head down the trail, and right there is exactly what you need. The most comfortable hammock ever. You climb in, and somehow this magical hammock seems to just rock gently in the breeze without any effort. As you lie there, listening to the birds and hearing the wind rustling through the trees, the hammock gently rocks you back and forth, and you find yourself becoming more and more relaxed. Your relaxation gets deeper. The healing journey you're on becomes deeper. The healing color is taking over everywhere, and the feeling of illness is losing out, fading away. You drift and contemplate and heal. You drifted off in the hammock into a light, healing, restful sleep. And you've started to stir, to wake, but you haven't opened your eyes. You feel a hand on your forehead. It is the most safe, nurturing, protecting, healing contact you could ever imagine. Someone you love, someone who loves you, is standing here with you now. Their hand on your forehead, sending healing vibrations in through your forehead and all through your body. They lean down and give you a nice, gentle squeeze, a cuddle, a healing embrace. Your body relaxes even more. Feeling somewhat rested, you swing your legs over, stand up out of the hammock, and make your way back to the fountain, back up the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you resume your walk through the forest. As you do that, you start thinking about your body. You start being incredibly grateful for your mind, directing all the activities of your body, directing your breathing and the flow of blood, directing your eyesight and your digestion, directing your energy management. Knowing that it's working so hard for you right now to make everything better and better. You start thinking about your lungs. With every single breath, you notice your lungs filling you with life-affirming oxygen with every single breath. Your heart, it beats for you. It beats for you constantly and continuously. It never complains about it. It just moves on, taking care of you. You have a magical body. Your pancreas, it pays attention to what you're eating, manages your flow of energy. In fact, you start to become aware of every single cell in your body. Every single cell. You notice that your blood cells are beautiful and round and flowing easily through your entire body, and that all of your cells are becoming more and more nourished, because you see, the more relaxed you are, the easier it is for blood to flow around, the easier it is for you to feed and cleanse and care for every single cell in your body. And as you lie here now, you feel it happening. Your imaginary journey in the forest is coming to an end as you begin feeling better and better. And so you can make your way from the forest to wherever it is you are right now. And you can bring your awareness into you and the present. And as you do that, you might become aware of some discomfort or pains, stuffiness, aches. But notice them for what they are, signs of healing. Notice them for what they are. They are evidence that your body is working for you. Celebrate them. Celebrate them with a sense of abundance. Your body is doing what it needs to do to protect you, to make you safe, to heal you. And with that knowledge, I suggest that you drift off and relax and enjoy and know that you can come back to this place to recharge, to reset, to relax any time you want.